Well, Senator Ted Cruz has aligned himself with most of Donald Trump's immigration policies. And while Mr. Trump is the Republican frontrunner, recent polling shows Senator Cruz gaining ground. He also holds an almost 40-point advantage over Donald Trump when it comes to Hispanic voters, a key group in the general election. Ted Cruz is a Republican senator from Texas and Republican presidential candidate. Good to see you tonight, Senator. So let's talk about immigration, because Mr. Trump made news last week when he started to unfold his plan. And you said, I love the plan. In fact, I actually authored almost all these same policies and introduced them in the Senate years ago, starting with this. He wants to end automatic citizenship, birthright citizenship, as outlined in the 14th Amendment, as required by the 14th Amendment. And you agree with him. Is it that you want to pass a constitutional amendment, or that you don't think the Constitution as written allows the children of illegal immigrants, those children being born here, to have American citizenship?
Well, as a policy matter, Megyn, it doesn't make any sense anymore that people who are here illegally, that their children would have automatic citizenship. That what that does is it serves as an incentive encouraging people to break the law and come here illegally. And we ought to change that policy. Now, as you noted, there is a legal dispute about the best means to do it. And there are serious legal scholars who argue that Congress could do it through statute, defining what it means to be subject to the jurisdiction, the language of the 14th Amendment. There are other serious constitutional scholars who argue the only way to change it is through a constitutional amendment. My view is we should pursue either or both, whichever is effective. What matters is that we should change the policy so we're not rewarding and incentivizing and encouraging more illegal immigration.
But what do you think? Because in 2011, in an interview you gave, you came out and said, look, the 14th Amendment provides for birthright citizenship. I've looked at the legal arguments against it, and I'll tell you, those arguments are not very good. As much as someone may dislike the policy, it's in the Constitution, and I don't like it when federal judges set aside the Constitution because of their policy preferences being different.
Well, that's why I say we should pursue either or both. We should pursue either a constitutional amendment, which overcomes any language in the Constitution, or a statute if the other scholars are right that it's within Congress's authority. What matters is the underlying policy.
I'll ask you the same question that was asked here yesterday of Mr. Trump on Fox News, which is, if you had a husband and a wife who are illegal immigrants and they have 2 children who are here, who are American citizens, would you deport all of them? Would you deport the American citizen children?
So, Megyn, what I've said is that we should approach immigration in a staged manner. We should start with focusing on areas of bipartisan agreement. Where is there bipartisan agreement? On 2 major areas. Number 1, that we should do everything possible to secure the border and stop illegal immigration. And number 2, to improve and streamline legal immigration. Now, what does it mean to secure the border?
Mr. Trump answered that question explicitly last night on the O'Reilly Factor. Will you do so now?
Well, Megyn, what I'm doing is answering what I think Congress should do. What Congress should do, and I introduced legislation to do exactly this: triple the Border Patrol, increase 4-fold the fixed-wing and rotary-wing aircraft to monitor the border, put in place a strong biometric exit-entry system, because 40% of illegal immigration doesn't come across the border, it's visa overstays, put in place a strong E-Verify system, and then this final piece is critical: actually have the federal government enforce the law. You know, in the year 2013,
listen, Senator, I understand
the
all
Obama
that,
administration...
and you've outlined your plan, but you're unlike you're dodging my question. You don't want to answer that question. He says he would.
But Megyn, I'm not playing the game.
Donald Trump says they're all gone under his policy. What would a President Cruz do? Do the American citizen children of 2 illegal immigrants who are born here, the children, did they get deported under a President Cruz?
Megyn, I get that that's the question you want to ask. That's also the question every mainstream media liberal journalist wants to ask. They focus exclusively on the 12 million people. It is a distraction from how we actually solve the problem. You know, it's also the question Barack Obama wants to focus on.
Why is it so hard? Why don't you just say yes or no?
Because, Megyn, we need to solve the problem. And the way you solve the problem is you focus where there's bipartisan agreement first. Once we've secured the border, once we've actually proven we can do this, once we've stopped the Obama administration's policy of releasing 104,000 violent criminal illegal aliens in 1 year, Once we've solved that problem, then we can have a debate, then we can have a conversation.
I want to ask you before I let you go, because you had an important conference call today that was very well supported and attended by pastors. 100,000 pastors? Wait, that couldn't have been a conference call. Do I have my facts wrong? You had 100,000 people on a conference call?
You are exactly right. We had a conference call with over 100,000 pastors nationwide that were reached out to and participated in it. And it's focusing on Planned Parenthood, on these horrible videos. And really two things. One thing that I have pledged, if I'm elected president, on the very first day that I'm sworn into office, I will direct the Department of Justice to open an investigation into Planned Parenthood and to prosecute any and all criminal violation by that organization. These videos are horrifying. But number two, we need to defund Planned Parenthood. And with these pastors this afternoon, every penny of it. And with it makes no sense that your and my taxpayer dollars should be going to fund what appears to be an ongoing criminal enterprise.
You know the argument. People say it does a lot of good, and that the part of Planned Parenthood that doesn't do abortions should continue to have funding.
But Megyn, you're too good a lawyer. You represented clients in private practice. If you represented a client that was committing an ongoing pattern of felonies, that had criminal investigations in states across this country, that was blatantly violating the law, you wouldn't be advocating that, well, my client should still get $500 million in federal taxpayer money. If you were representing any other client, your client would be going to jail. I might have had to do that. I know that's why I got out of the law. I didn't like doing that kind of stuff. That's why you and I have both chosen different professions now. Senator, it's always great to see you. Thank you so much. Megyn, it's great to be with you, and I'll say we're seeing people all over the country going to tedcruz.org, contributing and signing up. It's really incredible.
All the best to you.
Thank you.